Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ruach. Double honors to the apostles, the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. And as always, we give peace and salutations unto the elect. And I wanted to chime in on this topic. I'm pretty sure you brothers and sisters have saw, all right, evil seducers are waxing worse and worse. All right, and when you check out this one body in Yahweh Shai camp, pretty much all of the scriptures that we know to be associated with the biblical Edomites, all right, including the man of sin, okay, Herod the Great. Okay, as you can see here, they say the man of sin spoken of in 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, that will be revealed in the end time is not Esau, but it's Israelites. All right, they have a video saying it was Israelites that came over here and took down the so-called Native American Indians. So Christopher Columbus and his counterparts were Israelites. Okay, they said Satan, the one who came to Yahweh Shai and offered him all the kingdoms of the world, was an Israelite himself. All right, so ultimately what you're witnessing is plants. Okay, men crept in unawares, and plants, which, you know, somebody has to be the sellout. A lot of you Israelites are in this mind frame that everybody who puts on a garment and pops up, you know, teaching this word with the following, all right, is in good graces with Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right, now you do have some jakes who are just bugged out. All right, but now that we're at this end, at the end of this man's system, all right, as we told you, these sellouts are going to show themselves. And I believe wholeheartedly that this is a plant, because nobody is this goddamn stupid. All right, but all right, we do know that the 2/3 of our people will be sent strong delusions. The Lord actually said, I will choose their delusions. All right, so this is either a delusion that was chosen, or this dude is paid off to ultimately bring division and confusion amongst, all right, this great awakening in these latter days. All right, now the elect, as the scriptures say, if possible, they would be fooled. All right, so they're not gonna stop. So as the scriptures say, as a matter of fact, let's get that here in 2 Timothy 4:2. It says, preach the word, be instant in season and out of season. This is why we can't afford to take any breaks. Reprove, rebuke, okay, which you all think that it's unscriptural when we do that, but that is the duty of a prophet. All right, when you read Isaiah the 50, real quick, Isaiah 54 and 17, I believe. Let's just get it real quick. Isaiah 54 and 17, it says, no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of Yahweh, and their righteousness is of me, saith the Lord. So the prophets are sent, okay, to tear down strongholds, okay, to come up against false doctrines, and their righteousness is of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. So while you all are looking, you know, thinking that Great Millstone are just these perpetuators of division and hate, that is our job. The job of a prophet is, as we're reading here, is to preach the word in season and out of season, okay? Which means we're going to be like a broken record. We're always going to be there, okay? Whether you like it or not. And what are we going to do? Reprove, rebuke, and exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. All right. Why? For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears. And when you look at the comment boards of these videos, there are actually people who think that these things are very, very, you know, eye-opening. Okay, as the scriptures say, I marvel that you are so soon removed. Now, a lot of the comments as well could very well be agents, because our people look at the comments, and if they see other people saying, oh, wow, this is great, then they'll have the mind. These high-level elite and witches, they study you Jake's minds. They know how to get you going. All right, now this topic of Alexander, okay, But let me finish here. It says, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears, and shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned unto fables. But watch thou in all things, endure afflictions, do the work of an evangelist, and make full proof of thy ministry. All right, why? Because as Peter told us, okay, Peter told us that there is going to be false prophets among us, all right, who are going to bring in damnable heresies. And we're witnessing one body in Yahushua come about with many damnable heresies, man. All right, that make absolutely no sense when you line it up with biblical prophecy. Now, this topic of the Greeks and Alexander the Great being Israelites, all right, is false. Now, the dude starts out, all right, as he says here, first, which he meant first, in which we all make mistakes. Says first, let's start out with Greek art. Now, what he's going to do is start showing you black faces of Greek art, all right, which, if you understand history, you understand that the Japhetic people, all right, were inhabitants of these lands that were taken over by the Edomites. Okay, yes, there were various, all right, Greek arts where there's so-called dark people or dark people, all right, but a lot of those images were Japhetic people, and we have various lessons showing you. I mean, these guys act like Japhet never ruled. Yes, Japhet was a dark-skinned people, all right, and they inhabited these lands. They actually got a fat portion of land, okay, and ultimately it was eventually taken over by the Edomites, who took those identities. Okay, now when you go amongst a lot of these Greco-Roman histories, at points there were Israelites who did rule, okay, and had seats and did things amongst these societies, all right, but Alexander the Great in prophecy is not an Israelite, and that's what we're just going to deal with, just to focus on that point, because this dude is bugged the hell out. And it's like he's trying to take all of the focus off of Esau and put all of the wickedness done in the scriptures on Israelites, which our people are wicked as hell, all right? But the man of sin is the Edomites, which will be revealed in end time by prophecy. Alexander was an Edomite, okay? And the Greeks originally were Japhetic, taken over by the Edomites. Okay, we already proved that Herod the Great, okay, is not an Israelite, because why? He's synonymous with the red beast in Revelation, the 12th chapter, all right? The red dragon that stood before the woman, nation of Israel, to devour her child, which is Yahushua. He said no white man would want to worship the Messiah, but when you read the story and put it together, Herod didn't truly want to worship him. He wanted to put him to death, because he is synonymous with that red dragon, the Roman Empire, in which was ruling at that time. All right. Another thing this guy Bishop Jephthah said is that no Israelites would allow another nation to rule over them, which when you go into prophecy, that's what the curses were all about, nations ruling over us. So like I said, this dude either has to be paid off, all right, or ultimately he ate a bad batch of hot water cornbread, and or he could have took the juice. He could be activated, and that activator is messing his mind up. Okay, but yes, as we've shown you in videos, there are dark images of Greeks, because the Japhetic people, who are a dark nation of people, ruled and inhabited these lands before Esau, all right, Romulus and Remus, all right, going back to that, history, were Japhetic, okay? Esau only took and conquered these nations down. And what does he do when he takes nations down? He suppresses their true heritage. He removes landmarks. He lies on the history, okay? And we already know. Now, to deal with this topic of Alexander the Great, all right, we're going to go right here to Daniel, the 8th chapter, all right, and we're just going to read a few of these scriptures, and then we'll end it. Because if Alexander, all right, if all of the Romans, everybody who he's saying, were actually Israelites, then there's a lot of prophecies that Daniel and Ezra saw that ultimately now we have to go and redo. The whole Roman system, okay, is brought up here in Second Ezra, the 11th chapter, which we have a lesson on it. All right. So he's saying all of the rulers of everybody pretty much, of that Roman system that ruled were Israelites. So the eagle here in this chapter is Israelites. So the dude is losing his goddamn mind, man. All right. But to stick to the point of Alexander, just to make it clear, all right, Daniel, the 8th chapter, and anybody who's following these people, man, hey, you get what you deserve, man. This is a vision given by Daniel, okay, in the 8th chapter. In the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared unto me, even unto me, Daniel. Okay, and these visions cut all of this madness these people were talking about. It says, after that which appeared unto me at the first, and I saw a vision, and it came to pass when I saw it, that I was in Shushan in the palace, which is in the province of Elam, and I saw a vision as I was by the river Ulai. Okay, and what does he say? And I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before a river a ram that had 2 horns. All right. And the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. All right. This is speaking of the Medo-Persian Empire. All right. The Medes ruled first, but the Persians, all right, which were stronger, all right, came up last. Okay. So this ram is speaking of the Medo-Persian Empire. All right. Now, when you keep reading, it says, and I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before it. They went conquering. 3 of the main places or provinces that they conquered was Lydia, parts in Babylon, in Egypt, as well as various other different parts. They went conquering. Okay, and when you read in Daniel, the 7th chapter, it talks about how they had 3 ribs, all right, in its mouth. Let's get that real quick. Okay. Daniel 7:5. And I behold another beast, second like a bear. All right. The same thing that he's seeing in Daniel, the 8th chapter, but it's described differently. And it raised itself up on one side. All right. Because, of course, the Persians were, more in strength, all right, than the Medes. Okay. And it says, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. All right. And what's next is that leopard. Okay. Which the leopard is synonymous with the Greeks. And we'll show you that in just a minute. Okay. Going back to Daniel, the 8th chapter. Okay. And it says, Daniel 8:4, and I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward as it went conquering, so that no beast might stand before him, neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, but he did according to his will. It became great. Okay. That's the Persians. All right. Now, who took down the Persian, all right, the Medo-Persian Empire? Okay. The Greeks. All right. And we're going to show you. It says, and as I was considering, behold, an he-goat, which is the Greeks, okay, came from the west on the face of the whole earth and touched not the ground. And the he-goat had a notable horn between his eyes. Now, that notable horn between his eyes is Alexander the Great. Okay, you can even go into the Josephus, where the prophets, the priest, told Alexander that this prophecy was about him. Okay, and he was so astonished by it. He was so like damn, all right, that he reverenced him. Notice Alexander the Great didn't put too much hell on Jake. All right, the hell in the Hellenization period truly started, okay, after Alexander's four horsemen, all right, Lysimaeus, Cassander, which is going to go into all of that, which really out of Ptolemy came Seleucid. These are Edomites, man. Okay, what is he saying? Alexander and the great of the and the Greeks were Israelites. This dude is bugged out of his mind. So who was the Edomites? And why are you all doing this? So right here, the goat, the Greeks, okay, coming into power had a notable horn between his eyes. Verse 6, and he came to the ram that had two horns, the Medo-Persian Empire, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power. Okay, so Alexander took down, all right, the Medo-Persian Empire. As a matter of fact, let's jump to First Maccabees, the first chapter. Okay, it says, and it happened after that Alexander, the son of Philip the Macedonian, okay, which that's all linked, all right, to the Agagites, all right, going back to a war that we had with the that line of Edomites going back to Saul, Samuel, and so forth, man. All right, but we'll get that in a whole nother lesson. Let's just stick to the point. It happened that after Alexander, the son of Philip the Macedonian, came out of the land of Shittim, had smitten Darius, the king of the Persians, and Medes. All right, now when you go into history, Alexander didn't directly take down Darius, but it was his force that caused one of Darius's men, okay, one that was close to him, because Darius didn't want to submit to Alexander. Everybody around was like, look, this dude, they got it. We need to submit to them. Let's just give our kingdom over to them so we can have this and we can chill. All right, but Darius was like, no. So what happened is one of Darius's close men smote him. And eventually they fell, all right, to Alexander, okay, which is the head of the he-goat, the Greeks. So Alexander's force had Darius smitten, okay? So when you read it, let's read it again. He had, and it happened after Alexander, the son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, okay, that he reigned in his stead first over Greece. You see that? This is when, all right, even going back, to Philip, all right, Alexander's father, they were conquering these lands already, okay? So he became first over Greece, all right? He became ruler over this region. And what did they do? They called themselves the Greeks. All right. But the original inhabitants of this land, all right, were what? Japhetic people. All right. Now the Medes are Japhetic. Okay. Look it up. The Medes are a Japhetic people. Okay. The Persians come out of Shem, the Elamites. All right. So right here is proven, all right, as we keep reading, that Alexander was not no Israelite, man. Okay, and you can look it up in history. How did Darius the Mede die? Let's see here. How did he eventually die? Before Alexander reached him, however, Darius was killed by his relative Bessus, who was also the satrap of Bactria. Darius is partially remembered in Iranian traditions as Dara II, the last king, yada yada yada. But he was killed by one of his men because Alexander's force, and they saw how they were conquering. He was like, look, we got to submit. And Darius didn't want to. All right. Now, what nation of people were the Medes? Okay. In the Bible. In the Bible. As a matter of fact, we can just probably look it up in the blue letter. All right. They're Japhetic people. As a matter of fact, what I'll do is I'll just go back here. Give me 1 second. What I'll do, just look it up here. Medes. Just type in Medes. The Medes, Madya, okay, Middle Land, a people descended from the son of Japhet, who inhabited that territory. Okay, so Alexander, okay, as we're reading here in First Maccabees, okay, his force, all right, eventually led to the end of that empire, and he became ruler. And what did he do? And he made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth. This is not talking about Israelites. This wasn't the time for Israelites to do that. Okay? That's going to happen under Yahushai. Okay? But if you look at Daniel's vision, okay, the Greeks had to come into power and rule. The Greeks are the beginning of this beast system. Okay? The leopard, the he-goat. Okay? And went through the ends of the earth and took many spoils of the nations. So this is Israelites. Insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. So this is Israelites. So Israelites had this happen at this time? No. All right. The Israelites who had just come out of the Medo-Persian captivity, which, you know, it was captivity, but during that time we were allowed to rebuild the temple. All right. In comes Alexander. He allows us to, you know, keep our customs a little, you know, and then there came, as you keep reading, the Hellenization period. Let's keep going. So he gathered a mighty stronghold and ruled over countries. This is Esau. Okay, because what did the scripture say? His blessing was to what? Rule with the sword. This is the beginning of his beast system, because after the Greeks came the Romans, all right, the Western Roman Empire fell for a period of 1,000 years, but the deadly wound was healed through the Renaissance, leading all the way up to Babylon the Great, the NATO and the EU, which is where we are today. Okay, and he gathered a mighty strongholds and ruled over countries, nations, and kings who became tributaries unto him. This is not Israelites. And after these things, he fell sick. He fell sick and perceived that he should die. Okay. Before he called his servants, such as were honorable, I guess these were Israelites too, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and he parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. All right. Now we know, according to prophecy and according to history, okay, there were four notable generals that he parted his kingdom amongst. Now, you can look up the Diaduchi, all right, but as you keep reading, the major ones who he parted his kingdom amongst were the Lysimaeus, Cassander, Ptolemy, and the Seleucid, okay? Antiochus, which we're going to read about as we keep reading, came out of the Seleucid Empire. Okay? Just to make it simple, which links right up with what we're going to read here in Daniel, the 8th chapter. Okay? So this he-goat, which is Alexander, all right, Daniel 8 and 6, and he came to the ram, the Medo-Persian Empire, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran into him in the fury of his power. He took down these nations, right? The he-goat with the notable horn between its eyes, okay, which is speaking of Alexander the Great, right? How the hell is that an Israelite? So the he-goat now is an Israelite. All right, Daniel 8 and 7, and I saw him come close to the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and he smote the ram, the Medo-Persian Empire, and brake his two horns. He broke it down, and there was no power in the ram to stand before him. They submitted, okay, because he cast him down to the ground and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Okay, so the ram, the Medo-Persian Empire, fell to the Greeks, the he-goat with the notable horn between its eyes, which is Alexander. Therefore, the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up four notable ones towards the four winds of heaven. See that? And these four notable horns, all right, are synonymous with what we're just reading, all right? But when Alexander saw that he was on his way out, he parted his kingdom. Wherefore he called his servants, First Maccabees, the first chapter and the 6th verse, such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So Alexander reigned 12 years and died. And that was what he did in that small amount of time was great. It was amazing. It was like, whoa. All right. Because remember, this seed is blessed with the sword. This is the Edomites. Alexander is not an Israelite. And his servants bear rule, everyone in his place. All right. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. And when you look it up, they all started fighting amongst each other like Edomites do. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. Right. And there came a wicked root. All right. Out of them, a wicked root out of the Seleucid Empire. Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been hostage at Rome. He reigned, all right, in 130 years, in the 7th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. So the beginning of the kingdom of the Greeks, okay, as we know it, started with Alexander. But remember, they took that land from the Japhetic people, even going back before this time that we're reading about. Philip the Macedonian, Alexander's father, and his father, okay, were conquering these lands, man. Okay. So as we keep going, in verse 11, what happens? In those days, all right, went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. This is where the Hellenization period starts for the Israelites and the heathen round about. But the Bible focuses on the Israelites, where our people became uncircumcised, which is why you see heathen uncircumcision so many times in the New Testament. You got to know this history in order to understand the mystery, right? So pretty much, man, as you keep going, it breaks it down even more. Verse 9, the little horn, which is Antiochus, and out of one of them, all right, out of one of them who Alexander parted his kingdom amongst, came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great, Antiochus towards the south and towards the east and towards the pleasant land, which is Jerusalem. See, he went and conquered and Hellenized all of the heathen, but he also went to the pleasant land, which is Jerusalem, to Hellenize and get particular sellouts from amongst the leadership of the Jews. So how in the hell are the Greeks that the Bible speaks of in this context Israelites? Now, the Israelites eventually became Hellenized, became called Greeks through what? Taking on their practices, and Jake is doing that into this day. Greek fraternities. okay, and various different Greco-Roman customs that are here today, which makes our people heathen. But Alexander the Great was an Edomite, man. Point blank, period. Okay? There's a lesson where it links, all right, Alexander, the son of Philip the Macedonian. Let me see where that is, because it's also written somewhere else. The Macedonian. Let me see here. Give me 1 second. So these dudes are bugged out. I mean, and that's just basic things. We can go into various, let's see, apocryphal only. Haman, see that? Haman was also a Macedonian. Okay? Haman was a Macedonian, man. And as you see here, 1 Maccabees 6:2, in that there was in it a very rich temple wherein the coverings of gold and breastplates and shields, and Alexander, the son of Philip, the Macedonian king, who reigned first among the Grecians. All right? So they tell you civilization started with the Greeks, but there were already people living in these regions ruling before that. And those were Japhetic people, which were dark-skinned people. So yeah, you can go and find pictures of dark-skinned people who were associated with the Greeks and the Europeans originally, but that was Japhetic people. Now you had Jake scattered up in there, but you're practicing witchcraft by showing these pictures, because it's clear that the Japhetic people were dark skinned. So just because you see dark skin, now you're gonna associate that. Now you're gonna play with people's mind and say those were Israelites. When look, we've been going through this history. You know, we've been on the same website. We know what website you went to get these pictures, man. So really, what is this dude trying to do? What is he trying to do? Where in the hell is he going with this? All right. But also here, Haman, who we know is an Edomite, okay, that is linked to Agag, was called a Macedonian. You see? Because this line had always been conquering, man, and doing evil and wickedness. And we know Haman was what? An Edomite. So Haman is called a Macedonian. Alexander, the son of Philip, the Macedonian, it all links up if you add it together in the spirit. And there's a lot of history as well that we can tap into, but I just wanted to touch on the basics. All right, if you're saying all of the Greco-Roman leaders were Israelites, then Second Ezra, the 11th chapter, this is speaking. The eagle is speaking of Israelites. Okay, the he goat, the little horn, these are speaking of Israelites, and it makes no sense, man. So, as our beloved, leader, our beloved leader, Peter, told us what? But there shall be false prophets among the people, all right? 2 Peter 2:1, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who shall privily bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that brought them. Okay, they deny the miracles, they deny the chariots. Now, everywhere where we can go and show you that it's the Edomites, now it's Israelites. Even the one who came to Yahushua while he was being tempted after fasting 40 days and 40 nights. They say that that's an Israelite and bring upon themselves swift destruction. They say the one who came over on the boat to destroy the Israelites over here in the Americas, were Jakes. As a matter of fact, let me show you where they said that, because you all may think I'm over exaggerating. Pull it up real here. This is my other little page where I load little, clips. Here we go. Let me turn it up. Let me see here.
And I'm gonna show him, explain to y'all today. Who the one said all these kingdoms I will give to you? It was us.
Now, who came to Yahushua and said, all these kingdoms would I give to you? It's Satan. He's saying it's us. So what's next?
See, it was us. Who the one came over here and destroyed the Native Americans? It was us.
So now it wasn't Esau who came over here and destroyed the Native Americans. It was us. So I believe this dude is a paid agent. All right. And if you follow after these men and you believe them, hey, what did the Lord say, man? He was going to send strong delusion that they should believe a lie. Okay. Because Esau is trying to escape judgment and he has his minions set up to help him and put all of the blame on us. So these niggas are a part of the accuser of the brethren. Now, Jake is wicked and helped a lot of these empires do what they were doing, right? But what does it say here? 2 Peter 2:2, and many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of the truth shall be evil spoken of. No miracles, no chariots. Now all of these scriptures that are talking about Esau are really talking about Israelites. What hope do these niggas give you? And through covetous they with feigned words make merchandise of you, whose judgment, that nigga got the nerves to put his Cash App in the description box after that horrible breakdown. No, nigga, you need to be paying people. All right? There's nothing wrong with getting support and tithes and offering from the believers, but goodness gracious, nigga, what are you doing? Okay? Whose judgment now of a long time lingereth not, in their damnation slumbereth not. All right? So that's these men. Okay? False prophets. Okay? And Daniel, and Peter told you that they would come. All of these words must be fulfilled, man. Isaiah 9:15, the ancient and honorable, he is the head, and the prophet that teacheth lies, he is the tail. Isaiah 56:10, his watchmen are blind. They are all ignorant. Okay, they are all dumb dogs. And that's what this guy is. He's a dumb dog. They ain't warning you about nothing. They're trying to take all of the attention and focus off of the biblical Edomites and put everything on Jake. So who in the hell was Esau? Sleeping, they cannot bark, sleeping, lying. All right, lying down, loving to slumber. They are greedy dogs which can never have enough. And they are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way, everyone for his own gain from his quarter. So I don't know, I believe this dude is getting paid off. I believe a lot of these groups are getting paid off. Why in the hell would Captain Tazariot make sure to do a video telling people why he took the juice? Because when you look into what these elites are doing, they're paying leaders off, man. So don't think for 1 second that a lot of these niggas ain't being approached, man. Okay? There's many scriptures on false prophets. All right? But here we go. Micah 2:11, if a man walking in the spirit of falsehood do lie, saying, I will prophesy unto thee of wine and of strong drink, he shall even be the prophet of this people. Jake loves false prophets, man. Jake has to hear something weird too. All right. But it's all going to flip around on you all, man. But anyway, the man of sin is not Esau. Okay. The Romans were Hebrew Israelites. All right. Oh boy. And now all of this garbage. So, I'll leave it there. I'm pretty sure other brothers are going to do videos. I just wanted to go through that basic biblical history real quick. Hopefully y'all are edified. On to the next. Shalom.